This is Overshare. This is where I, Tiana, come to overshare with my friends, and Jeffrey, well, he's lame, so he just plays video games. Say hello, Jeffrey.
Hey, guys.
All right, and today, once again, we all know Tiana's not a very interesting person, right? I got to bring other interesting people on, make myself seem more interesting. It's very important. So today I have brought a good friend of mine on, who I've known for many, many years, Mr. John Summers.
Hello.
Hello.
Greetings and salutations.
Hello. It's so nice to have you
What's
on,
up, fam
my friend.
bam? How you doing?
Well, I'm doing a podcast, and I might be like failing, but hopefully I'm failing upwards.
And that's the only way to fail, as I hear.
I suppose. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of an artist thing, right?
It must be.
John gets my soul because we're both artists.
I do.
He
Yes,
understands everything of these things.
That's true. We do fail and somehow manage to make it work.
Somehow. We have to. Otherwise, we would die. It's casual. It's okay. It's casual to be an artist. We would just starve. We would just... It's fine.
Yeah.
We would just not eat.
It's not everything.
Okay.
It's not everything to you.
It's not a big deal.
It's not your whole world.
It's not like my ego would be crushed or I would be unable to pay the bills. I'd be fine
all encompassing
without it.
And
right now I'm fine without it.
I feel great.
Don't I seem fine without it? No, am I not selling that?
No, listen, man, I get it because I've only ruined all of my relationships.
Yeah, that's an artist
for
thing.
art, and
we do that.
Yeah,
Art
there's
is
something
important.
about that.
It's our mistress. It's our mistress. We started as art nerds in high school, so it's been our mistress for a while.
Yeah,
right?
What is that? That's like 20 years for us now.
It is.
It's so crazy.
It's casual.
Yeah.
We don't have to date ourselves that way. No, I'm just kidding. I've already said my age on the podcast.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck.
Well, you don't get mine.
He's older than me. Do the math. You're welcome. Shade.
Damn.
I know. I suck.
Oh,
I'm
man.
sorry. I'm sorry. But
Just
John was a band nerd. He was a band nerd. So he was.
I
was a theater nerd. So we had different brands of nerdiness. Different brands of nerdiness.
That is
sort
true.
of intersecting.
It did. It did for musicals and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
You are actually more of a theater nerd than I am. And I was, in a thespian and all that bullcrap. And but went towards the music side.
Right.
Of things.
Which is really your specialty. That's your real.
I guess
of
you
the
could
many
call it.
talents you have.
Oh, please. Pshaw.
That is your.
Kill it.
Where you truly
Kill
shine.
all that. Kill all that noise.
Shine.
No, I just I'm a slave to it like the rest of us, I suppose, man.
That is true. Well, music keeps us all going. Keeps us alive. It's been keeping me alive. So we appreciate people who make music. Thank you for keeping us all alive. No pressure. No pressure at all. Okay, John? It's fine. We just need you guys to survive.
Just do it. Just do it all right the first time. We'll never
we're
love
all
you.
stuck in our houses, and we're all gonna die without you. Boom, 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 boom.
Boom, 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 boom.
You're welcome. It's like the worst, shittiest pressure ever. And then you're supposed to go perform after that. They're like, good luck. Break a leg.
Thank you. Everything depends on this moment.
Fine. I will literally commit suicide if your show sucks.
The sound enginering's crappy.
I've got nothing to live for except this moment.
So good luck, man.
So Godspeed.
Kill that. You're gonna be great, and if you're not, then we'll never see you again. But
Space.
Be real. Let's keep it all the way messy for a second. Like, how many times have you painted a dope set, and you were like, man, this does not match the effort that these actors are putting in.
Are you dead serious? You want me to?
I'm dead ass right now.
You want me to spill that tea on the podcast right now?
Spit on that. I thought this was Overshare. Keeping it all the way messy. You're paying attention because you're you.
True.
So you're absolutely watching the show, seeing the director's notes, doing all that BS. I'm just gonna make some other stuff up because I'm on the music side. Just so I'm
lighting notes, and sound cues, and
while
shit.
you're doing what you're doing, I'm sweating in the pit. So I don't get to see any of this, and you're just like, really, man? I'm gonna paint this for you.
You're in the thick of the performance, and you feel like I'm sitting out there
I'm just asking. Yeah, I'm just asking. I'm like, yo.
I mean, I see that. I see how like the production people have that safety in a way where like
For
we
sure.
get to sit in the house and you guys have to go up there and we have to be like, hey, you know. But I have to say, usually when I'm saying you're not upholding the level of the cast, it's because they're not like humbly allowing themselves to be collaborative. Does that make
That's
sense?
fair. Absolutely. 100%.
Right? So
Yeah.
that would be a different thing. If I saw that in you with like how you collaborated
They
with people that you were making music with, and I was sitting in the house and I was like, this guy won't even let other people's voices be heard, then
they
no, I wouldn't really
they
respect
can't
that.
work within the ensemble.
Yeah, I'd be like, this guy seems like he kind of sucks, even if I was just observing from the house, right?
That's
Yeah,
fair.
we're humans, we make
Yeah.
observations as designers. But like generally, no, I find if somebody's really doing the best they can to give the best performance, that's all I can ask for.
Okay.
That's
That's fair.
all I can ask for. And then like the variance of what that person's talent is, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we see variances in that
And
depending on the gigs we do.
you are a better lady than I am.
Sometimes you work community theater and it's someone's first show, you know? And sometimes you work
Oh dear.
and people are like seasoned actors with like an equity card. So it's different. It's different sometimes for me, depending on the show. What the people bring.
I'm fascinated because for me as a DJ, you know, one of the hardest things I'm doing right now is I do a monthly show at the Saddlebronc, which is an all country bar.
Mm-hmm.
I hate country music. I still hate country music. I've learned a lot about it, and I can play it, and I can play it respectably, I hope, because I think all music should be treated with the same amount of respect. I just don't personally like it. So how do you, as an artist, do something that you might not necessarily be interested in? So the piece you're working on, as you've told me, is a theater in space.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be the best way to put it?
Yeah. It's a movie theater and it's supposed to feel like a spaceship. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you put yourself in that headspace where you're attaching yourself to that client's needs, but you're also putting your flair into it? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Total sense. It makes total sense. So, of course, when it comes to my murals, I mean, usually I'm painting for residential projects. So, if somebody's going to give me a lot of money, then I don't really care what you want me to paint. I will paint it. It is your house, yo. So, there's that. But usually in theater is where I find that collaboration comes in a little bit more, and I have to find ways for my voice to be heard. And the set designer is kind of the first point that they go to with design. It's usually the first thing that happens before they actually design the rest of the show. And obviously, they can't block the show or anything like that until they've pinned down what the set design is. So I'm often the first designer to come on to a team and start their job, right?
So in a certain way, all my decisions influence everything, but my decisions aren't made in a void or made on based on my ego. They're based on entirely on the script and on my collaboration with the director,
Okay.
which I thrive on. I like having other people's creative input and having
Sure.
their vision because their ideas are not things I necessarily would have thought of. And I think fine art, when you're just sitting in your house and like creating a painting out of your own mind, is fun and all, but it doesn't provide that same stimulation that theater does for me, where I get to work with other people who have totally different ideas that I would never have about a show. And then I get to create something within that, but that is also still mine.
Right.
I like that process because we all walk away from a show feeling like, in theater at least, feeling like and I think film is the same way, feeling like we have a part of it, but feeling like we also don't own any of it.
Yeah. And I would say, especially going to DJ sets is definitely that way. At least,
Is it? Okay.
I mean, real DJ sets. So there's definitely your clubs where you're gonna hear your top 40, and they might do that top 40 in a very clever way, but you know Megan Thee Stallion for the New Kid is happening. You know Justin Bieber is gonna happen. What separates us, I call us selectors, the scratch DJs, the people who look at ourselves as conductors is we play the right song at the right time. And we can see, oh, it's ripe for a banger. We're not above the crowd. We're not separated from the crowd. We are the crowd. We are that atmosphere, that energy, that space that
Everybody's occupying jointly together.
right. Yes, 100%. Without realizing it, without even realizing that they're doing it. That kinship that happens when you know that the stranger next to you knows the same song that you do. When the smile reaches both of you and you're like, yeah, man, this is that jam. This is that joint. And it could mean completely different things to both of you for different reasons. But for that 3 minutes and 30 seconds or however long songs are, I have a sneaking suspicion we're probably going to get down to like 1 minute songs now because our attention spans are so fucked. But that moment, even fleeting, is so powerful because that energy has to go somewhere. It goes elsewhere and you get hit with it as the artist, and then you rebound it back again. And if you get it right, if you get it really right, and you have the crowd, then you can circulate that energy for as long as you want. I feel like I got super deep.
No, it's good. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the gift that the performers have, to be able to vibe with the audience like that. That's when you're a performer, when you perform music, when you craft words or music. I feel like that's like a whole gift that you get to have with the audience that moment. I provide the environment for someone like you to do that. And then you create that moment.
But that environment is so important.
Of course.
Like,
yeah,
so
I would hope
important.
so. But we're nothing without each other, right? I'm especially nothing without you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because the performer could do what they did, even perform Shakespeare, perform your music in a park,
Right.
in an open space.
But that
There'd be an enjoyable quality to that.
But that's a different energy.
Right.
Like you change the energy based on the work that you do, which is why I say it has to be a synergy. It has to be.
Yeah. So my job as a designer, I guess I'm saying, is
It's like a
that
force
synergy.
marriage. Yeah.
I'm trying to say it's to provide that.
And
right? You guys provide that moment, and I provide the synergy that provides that moment.
And exactly, which is why, like, I've performed in front of garbage sets.
Yeah.
Did not feel good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It did not feel good.
Yeah.
And that's just real. No diss to any of them, like, but
yeah.
So moving it along.
Oh yeah.
You have played both sides of the stage.
Me?
Yeah.
No, don't tell them that.
Oh no.
I didn't do that.
I thought we were having tea, fam. I thought we were just having some tea.
Oh, that's right. This is Overshare. I was supposed to overshare. I totally forgot.
Listen, if you don't mind, for the
It's
newly reacquainted, it has been a long time since you and I have seen each other, and I just like to catch up.
True.
Yeah. What was your first show like?
My very first show?
In front stage. Yeah.
Well, I was like
As an
9.
actor.
I was like 9.
Okay.
I was in Oliver Twist. I was an orphan. Just thrilling.
I'm riveted.
I know. I can tell right now. I don't know. I mean, I was nervous, but I liked it enough to go do it a bunch of times again.
Okay.
What about you?
What
was your first show like? What was your first show?
Anything Goes. Freshman year.
That is a terrible show. I'm sorry.
I thought the same. And it was kind of racist.
I'm so sorry.
I was like, man,
My gut reaction to that
This-
is just, I'm sorry.
this show is not made for the blacks.
No,
I gotta tell you.
not in any way.
And being one of those persuasion of the darker color, I walked through that show kind of like in a daze.
Awkward. This
In a
is
daze.
terrifying to me. Yeah.
For sure. But it was also,
Yeah, I can't imagine.
you know, it was cool because I got to work within our choir we're both from Fountain Hills, so we got to work with that particular group who brought me in as a singer, and you know, we're very nurturing as far as that went. So it was kind of,
In the end, you found a sense of community from it.
yeah,
even though it was
definitely,
an awkward experience.
definitely.
That's good.
I would say that. I would definitely say that. I would never do that show again, and I'd never,
No.
you know, ever.
No, but I do always hope that from theater, community experiences happen. Like, that's one of the main redeeming things that I love
Right.
about that art form. So that
And I-
makes me
and I
feel
think it-
slightly better that at least
Right.
through the terrifying experience of being in anything goes.
It's
Even worse than performing in any Holocaust play or anything
Oh,
about
yeah.
some kind of nightmare escape. You had to perform in Anything Goes, and I apologize for that.
you know.
I'm sure that your psychiatric bills have been very expensive after
They have been, but not for that.
of all the
was-
traumas.
That was
That one you were able to manage.
that was a blip, my sister.
Jesus
That was a blip. That was just a
Christ.
fucking blip.
Anything goes. That's right. How do you feel like your nerddom informed your music?
That's a good question, actually. I would say really that it was the nerdy obsession. You know how like sci-fi nerds know like all the expendable crewmen in Star Trek or some bullshit like that, right? Like all that type of just deep rooted fandom. That's me for all types of genre of music. I have to know who the bass player is on a rock album. I have to know like who did the beats on a certain hip hop record. Like I have to know what sample that was, and that's how I DJ as well. Is, you know, I will share the sample of a song first and scratch that in. That's a Jazzy Jeff thing to do. Shout out to Jazzy Jeff, one of my idols. But for me, it's the texture and the aura of a song and something unique that I latch onto that I in turn try to put back out into the world. That I want to say, hey man, like I was this nerdy kid in the corner listening to the song, and this song like perked me up out of that kind of awkwardness. Let me give that back to you. And if somebody there is listening and gets that, then I can keep going, man. And that's the real fuel.
No, that's awesome.
Is that it's all about, you know, you say it and you know it as a visual artist, as a musician, as an actor, whatever. We're always talking about connections and those little things that we do that the audience gets to see and latch onto. But when you're working 80 hours a week,
Yeah.
or when you're stuck in a studio smelling your own farts for a week and a half at 3 a.m, working on the same snare drum, you forget that. You absolutely forget what you're doing it for that moment. And so to see it all come to fruition,
That's the reminder.
that's it. That's the beauty of it all.
Yeah, I can understand
You know
that.
what I mean? And
Absolutely.
even when you see, especially because I've done so many different things musically, so now I'm DJing mostly, to see somebody connect with a moment that I've made, like the Michael Jackson loop I played for you the other day, and those type of things, to see the synapses firing and somebody like, oh, holy shit, why do I know this? How do I know this?
Right.
And then to have the guts to come up and ask me and just say, hey, where did you get this? Why do I know this? Those type of things, that's the teachable moment that I live for. It's like, yo, man, let me tell you, like, there's this group.
Yeah.
You may not know them, but you've definitely heard them because
People
everybody
have sampled off them.
yeah, everybody you love has been ripping their shit for years.
Mm-hmm.
Like that type of stuff is how I justify being a nerd.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, because my history runs deep.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weirdly, I find that music and painting can be really similar in that way. And that,
Definitely.
like, when I look at something large that I have to paint, I talked to you about this previously, I have to break it down into all these different little squares, right? And just like that, you're breaking it down into, like, the different bars and the different measures of a song. And it makes something that seems overwhelming or chaotic in your brain as a creative idea actually start to make sense because you have a framework in which to lay it in. And that's the technique that you learn over time by either just being a nerd who practices your trade or education or both or whatever it is, right?
For sure.
And you start to get this ingrained in your mind, this vision of like, how do I actually lay this composition out and how do I actually make this come to fruition? I think that that's something that we can kind of share. And I understand that feeling, by the way, of being like focused on the details, every brushstroke analyzed. You're thinking, is this the right thing? It looks a little weird when I'm up close to it. And as soon as I back away and I actually look at the whole thing, I start to understand, oh my God, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It actually is making sense.
And
That's right.
I've even borrowed your grid technique from the time you just taught me that. You taught me that, what, yesterday? 2 days ago?
2 days ago, yeah.
2 days ago? Like, I have a breakdown that I'm working on, and it was driving me batshit crazy.
Huh.
And it's not more than, I would have to say, if I was generous, it's about a 45-second sample. And it's not something too complicated.
Right.
But I could not see the picture, which is weird for me. Like I couldn't see where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do with it, or anything. And I had to start gridding it off. And I was like, yo, okay. So I started taking it apart piece by piece, and I took the snare, and I took and in this particular sample there's like 2 French horns and an upright bass, and I was like, okay, I have all these awesome things. How do I make a hip hop beat out of this? And that grid technique helped me keep my sanity. Because let me tell you, you know what it is. Like you get into that 8th and that 9th hour and that 10th hour.
You're looking at it too close.
And then,
or in your case, listening to it too close.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing, and you have to
listening to this too long.
Yeah, and you have to walk away.
No sense
and
anymore.
And that's not my gift. Like my gift is hearing the picture right away and being able to finesse it to my will. When I have to work more than 6 hours, I get super cranky. Like super, super cranky. And
it is hard to do more than 6 hours at a time of creative work, though.
Yeah.
Because it is mentally exhausting.
Yeah.
It can be physically exhausting too, depending on whether you're performing, I would imagine.
Right.
And for me, ppainting can be exhausting.
That's nuts. Yeah.
That's awesome that my grid technique was able to.
No, it was cool, and it was so. But it goes to back.
It's not my grid technique. Yeah. It's just a grid technique that I explained. I just want to disclaimer. I don't actually think I own the grid technique.
Oh, do you want to hear about my worst show?
Yeah, let's hear about your worst show.
3rd grade.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah,
this back, you guys. This cut goes deep.
No, it wasn't 3rd grade. Oh my God, it was 6th grade. That makes it worse. It was 6th grade.
He fast forwarded in time now. Now the cut goes even deeper because he was older. It's harder to shake.
I mean, you can make fun of me if you want to about this, but I was like trying to be serious.
Oh.
So that's cool.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
He's gonna need therapy later.
Thanks, pretty white woman,
No,
for ruining my whole ego in life. I was about to say something so grimy. I was gonna be like, "How are they giving women talk shows in the first place?"
That's true though. But nobody gave me this. I just did it, which is typical white woman too.
I know, right? This is mine now.
Nobody told me I could. I just
This is-
did.
Listen,
This
this
is
is
the
this
thing
is
I
mine.
did.
This is mine
This
now.
is my airspace
This is
now.
mine now.
Nobody told me I should.
Listen.
I just did it.
I go here.
Because why?
I
Because
go here.
white. Because white. Just because white. You're welcome.
I go here.
That's gonna be the new one. Just because white.
Oh shit.
I think we need to hashtag that shit.
Yeah.
Because white.
Yeah.
That's me.
So,
Anyways.
as a humble black man, I just want to say, okay, or as a black man since I'm not very humble, but as
All of our mockery aside, I'm ready for your story.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. By the way,
that's right. Oh yeah, your life.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
by the way,
the things that happen in
that
your
shit,
life.
that
The whole
shit.
reason why you're on the podcast to tell me about shit in
Yeah,
your life.
man.
That part, not
Yeah, man.
just.
that time that I pissed myself on stage at the Arizona State Fair.
No, you didn't.
That's a true story. That's a real true story.
My heart is shattering into 1,000
Oh
pieces.
no, it's the worst. Especially since, actually, you haven't seen me perform lately, but like you see my shows now, they're piss free.
Ever since that one.
Piss free
Ever
since
since that one.
'93.
Lived it,
Oh, it was bad.
learned it.
Learned it. Oh no, it was terrible.
Why?
So
what
yeah,
happened?
no man.
Why?
So fuck, dude. I couldn't tell you how or why, but I was in, the overalls and the nice tie, and I was the first tenor saxophone of the middle school jazz band, and I had just gotten to Arizona from Chicago, and I was cool, but I was like right in the mid-level cool. I wasn't popular, but I wasn't unknown. I was just there, and I lived in my mediocrity, and it was awesome.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, and I loved it. And I thought I was so great. I was like, if I can survive these crazy-ass white people in Arizona, I can just live here. I can live in this zone. And so we get the Arizona State Fair gig that every jazz band in Arizona probably gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, at
Goes
some
to
point.
do
At some point. At some point. And but it's a big deal. It's
Right.
like thousands of people.
And they want
that
you guys to
wander
take it
in.
seriously.
And yeah, and I did because I
Because you were
had
that kid.
I had a solo
Even more reason.
full improv for Night in Tunisia. Google it, kids. I'm not going to explain it. It's a great jazz standard. And I practiced this over and over and over again. So I'm ready. I'm ready. I practiced. My dad has played with me, and I've got this solo that I've made. It's mine, and it's all good. And we start playing the first song, and the first song's whatever. And I'm playing and doing my thing. I'm like, holy shit, I gotta pee.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah. I'm just looking around. I'm like, fuck. It's the beginning.
There is definitely no place to pee on this
No.
stage.
And it's the beginning of the show.
Also a problem.
Yeah. So it's like a 30-minute set. And I get through that song, and I'm doing the knee shake. Like, I'm like,
No, not the knee shake.
oh, yeah. I'm like,
Oh, boy.
and then we're cool. My teacher, shout out to Miles Yost. I still know him. I actually saw him a couple times since I've been home in Arizona because he was actually an amazing mentor. But he's looking at me, and he's got a lazy eye. So, second song. Still doing okay. But now the sweats are starting to happen, and it's just like, I'm like, oh shit. And then so like, I'm trying to ship my balls, and I'm like 14, so they weren't really balls. They were like ballets. They were just like, I'm just like, holy shit, I'm mad uncomfortable right now. And now the eye is like twitching. The other eye that's not on me is like, what the fuck, man? So it's like kind of spinning exorcist style a little bit. And it's like, oh my God, what are you doing, fam? And I'm like, I gotta go. And he's conducting fiercely, and it's a huge up-tempo number. And I'm playing, crying. I'm like crying, and then playing, and then I'm playing, and I'm crying. And he was like, what the hell is wrong with you, son? I'm like, if I do not pee now, I will pee my pants. He's like, you can't go. My song, Night in Tunisia, starts. I've been waiting for this for 4 months. Not long. But like, but I just wanted to play the solo so bad. I really wanted to play the solo. And it's playing. And I'm playing my heart out, but I'm crying my heart out too. I'm just like, I can't do this. I stand up. Crescendo, big crescendo. The drummer's going crazy. Everything is working well. And I play. And that's it. And that's all she wrote. I wail. And my dick was like, well fought, son. Well fought, son. But you know what?
It's over now.
Yeah, you're done. Rest well, pig.
And how did you survive this trauma, John? Did you?
I moved schools. I moved motherfucking schools. No. And it was not because my parents were like, oh, this is a bad event in your life, we should probably leave. It just worked out that way.
Timed out well.
It just worked out that way. So this is my overshare.
You're welcome.
But the funny part of that, truly, is that there was nowhere to go but up.
True.
I wasn't going to stop playing music. I was going to stop being me. There was no choice. And it's amazing what you can do with a lack of fear. When it doesn't matter anymore. When you're like, when you hit fuck it.
Hashtag 2020.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Cheers to you,
Cheers.
fam.
You don't see the face I'm making at him, but it's a serious face.
No, it's like, yo, man.
It's like a nodding face. Like, yeah, that's what I'm about.
Des, I love you, but Tiana's my new ride or die. Ooh, I said that on tape, son.
Dare he?
Oh, I know. I'm gonna pay for that later.
He will pay for that. I don't know if it's gonna be paying for it in a good way or in a bad way. All right, so clearly,
Yes,
there is no doubt that this has been Overshare.
100%.
And I have been Tiana, and that has been John.
That's John.
And that's been Jeffrey, even though he hasn't said shit.
Bye, guys.
There he is. All right.
Gotta say,
Thanks for all the
a
input.
titan.
Hey, thanks for all the input. We love you. All right, so thank you all. I hope you all enjoyed listening to Mr. John. And thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Dude, it's my pleasure, of course, man. Anytime.
Very, very nice to have you. And yes, we will have to have you back along
please
with
do.
Desiree. These are my new tea spilling buddies, so it's gonna be a thing.
And I hope that you guys will be my new tea spilling buddies too, right? You're going to join me while we spill some tea. And please, if you have any interest in joining us on the podcast, just reach out in the comments section, reach out in direct messages through social media. I don't care if we've never actually talked before outside of messages. I think that's still a fun way to get to know someone is through this podcast. So go ahead and reach out. Next week, I'm going to have some more artsy friends on. Christian and Ben, they are a lovely couple, both very talented musicians, composers. So we're going to talk to them and pick their brains a little bit about life and art and shit. So join us, don't miss that. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember that love always wins. Bye, guys.